But,
oh,
how are you?
Who are you talking about, him or me?
You.
Oh, you've seen me here. This year, have you been here?
Yeah, I've been here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Johnny was
hosting. Okay,
how have
I
you
see.
been?
I've been fine. Thank you
Awesome.
very much. Good to have you. Anyway, so going into our first story for today, it's been exactly 3 years since the Ayawaso West Wogon by-elections violence. Remember that the Emil Shorts Commission was tasked to investigate thoroughly the matter that led to a number of people getting injured, and the MP for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, also being attacked. And they came out with a report. Government issued a white paper and said that they asked for a wholesome investigation into this, a very impartial one. And unfortunately, they could not accept parts of the report because they realized that the Emil Short Commission failed to do an impartial inquiry into the matter. So they issued a white paper and indicated which parts they accept and which parts they reject. But most importantly, there were a number of people that the Emil Short Commission had asked to be compensated, and a number of people whose vehicles had been destroyed as well. They were asked to be compensated. It's been 3 years, and questions are being asked about when these people will receive their money. Let's hear from some of the victims. We'll also hear from Honorable Sam George, the MP for Ningo Prampram, who was slapped on that day, and a few other people.
My party, before I saw some soldiers covering their faces, start giving warning shot on air. Before I saw they start giving us straight bullets. Before I find myself on the ground, before I see my leg was, it's not all that easy. 9 surgery, serious one. Up to now, I'm feeling pain because there is no bone inside my leg. There is no any compensation. I don't know, maybe tomorrow the government can change its mind for our compensation, but up to now, I haven't heard anything from anybody.
Almost 2 months, 2019. And Dr. Nakaten said, Dr. Nakaten said, I'm sure you have stroke to my body.
They shot my arm. The doctor said if the treatment is not done consistently, I'll get a stroke. So every week, I spend more than 500 Ghana cedis on medication. I've been living on the charity of others. I am struggling to look after my family.
The brothers no boy cry. And they're down for 4. If not so, they're near the cry. No wife any color.
In Ayawaso West Wogon, they injured people. But during the December 7th election, they killed people. And they were able to go ahead and kill 8 people because when they hurt 8 people in Ayawaso West Wogon, we did not demand justice. They set up a commission. And the people they set up in the commission were not NDC members. President Akufo-Addo himself handpicked people he believed had the competence to do the job that he had asked them to do. The commission recommends the criminal prosecution of Mr. Ernest Akomia, aka Double, for the unauthorized possession of firearms under Section 1921 of the Criminal Offences Act. Why has President Akufo-Addo not commenced the prosecution of Mr. Ernest Akomia? The commission recommends the criminal prosecution for the offense of assault, to wit, the slapping of Mr. Sam George by Mohammed Suleimana. Mohammed Suleimana is a known operative of national security. Why has he not been prosecuted? The commission recommends the immediate removal of DSP Samuel Kojo Azugu from command responsibility at the Ministry of National Security. The president failed to act on this, left Azugu there till Azugu went and assaulted your own colleague, Caleb Kuda, and Zoe Abubedu of CTFM. It's simply because you, the media, you were quiet. You failed to demand action from the president. And when it happens to somebody and you leave it, tomorrow it will happen to you.
And that is Honorable Sam George. He's the MP for Ningo Prampram. And, well, he's speaking on why nothing has been done so far about the recommendations, at least majority of them are the recommendations that were made by the Emil Short Commission. And he posted something yesterday in commemoration of the 3 years, since that attack and that violence. And he said 3 years on, the story could have been different. Despite the failure of human justice, I am confident of divine justice. Someday, very soon, hashtag AWW, which stands for Ayawaso West Wogon. The story of grace continues, and that is his post on Twitter. I'll start off with you, comrade. There have been concerns about people not being compensated, even though, they suffered gravely from the Ayawaso West Wogon violence. What do you say?
Well, good morning, Bella. Good morning to my brother.
And good morning to your cherished viewers, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. First and foremost, we need to look at the genesis. What happened on that day was not just an attack on innocent Ghanaians. It was an attack on our democracy. It was a serious attack on the democracy of this country. Perhaps I need to state this for the first time. The evening prior to the elections, someone called me and told me not to get closer to Ayawaso.
Someone called you and said that to you?
Yes, and told me.
Why?
Whatever reason, the person just called. And I picked the call. It was an unknown number. And God will bear me witness. And told me that Mutala, tomorrow, don't get closer to Ayawaso, West Wagon. Because he knew, and I stayed closer. So I asked him why. He went off the line. To be very honest, I went there. And I went, by the time I got there, the event had, the unfortunate event had taken place. So it was pre-planned. It was something that...
You can't say it was pre-planned just because someone called you.
Yes, the person called and told me not to go there.
I mean, on what, they probably were just concerned about you.
No, why would the person call me with an unknown number? Why would the person not want me to identify him? So clearly the person might have had some information for which reason he cares and asked me not to go there. So when I wanted to find out why are you saying I shouldn't go there, the person went off the line. And I've shared this information with friends. And in fact, after the call, I called somebody and I told the person that this is a strange call I've received. And the person is telling me not to get closer to the police. So it was something that was planned to be executed. Now, the government in his own wisdom constituted the members for the purpose of this investigation. And there is no doubt in the integrity of the people who were constituted to investigate this. The president is now questioning the integrity of those individuals. Look at them in short, the former High Court judge,
yes.
This professor, these are very distinguished personalities, persons, and they were asked to do something. They did the work. Everybody witnessed it because it was carried live on national television. Over 60% of their recommendations were all rejected. The president or the government is now saying that they were biased for the purpose of whose interests. Clearly, the government was not expecting that they would do an independent and diligent work. And an independent and diligent work which cited operatives of this government to have engaged in such terror. And that is the reason why the government is doing this. The least this government could have done, at least, would have been to compensate the victims. This gentleman is now unconscious, the one whose clip you just showed. Yeah. This gentleman certainly would have been the breadwinner in his house. Perhaps he has wife and children. Clearly he is deformed. Clearly his physicality is challenged now. How is he going to take care of his family? How is he going to take care of the other? And the psychological trauma that many other people who suffered there. Azuga, or is it Azuga? Azuga? Everybody saw what he did. The gentleman was left. You had a gentleman who is a terror group of this MPP who claimed that he was just selling phones at Circle. And he was enlisted or recruited, if you like, into the national security. Look, those things are things that sends a signal to us that something was going to happen in the 2020 elections. And true to the prediction of many people that, look, if no action is taken against these individuals who engage in this, they would replicate same. And the reason why government cannot take action against those individuals who engage in such terror acts because those individuals were trained by this government. They were trained by this government. We all witnessed to what happened during the 2016 elections. When these terrorists were brought from South Africa through McDonough.
They were brought from South Africa?
Yes, to train the MPP terror.
But you're mentioning someone's name. He's not here to defend himself.
I'm saying that the letter that invited those individuals, those security experts from South Africa, was a letter written to them through McDonough. It's not a secret. His letterhead was what was used to invite them into this country. They came to train who? To train MPP terror groups.
Oh. How can you say that? That what they brought people in to train terror groups?
I am saying that all those... Look,
I mean, that's an unfair statement to make.
Go and read the description, the African, there is this document on African perspective of this, terror group, and find out whether those youth groups are all, those groups that are formed terrorizing people are not terror groups.
Do some of these groups not belong to your party as well? There are some terror groups that also belong to your party.
Are we talking about an incident that happened at Ayawaso West War 1? Or we are talking about the generality of
but if you talk about terror groups, then there are some terror groups that are also aligned with NDC allegedly.
Fine, but I'm saying that we are talking in specific reference to this group of individuals who did what they did. You had the General Secretary of MPB who says that they won't disband them. When there were several calls that all these groups, they cannot be described by any terms except that they are terror groups, terrorizing individuals. And I'm saying that what happened at Ayawaso, we witnessed what happened in the 2020 elections. And the reason why I'm saying the president and the government cannot act is because it's state-sponsored. Those people came in uniforms belonging to the state. They were supervised by a police officer. They were in state vehicles. And they came masquerading as national security operatives.
The president was a SWAT
I'm
team.
saying
The
that they
SWAT team
came
has
masquerading.
existed.
They came masquerading. Why? How do they recruit people to the SWAT teams? The SWAT teams is a wing of the Ghana police. Is that not the case? Are they members of the police? One of them, in his public, testimony, said that he was selling phones at Tiptoe Lane. So I'm saying that they came under the auspices of the state security, masquerading as operatives of national security, terrorizing people. And the reason why this government cannot act is the same reason why they can't act against armed military men and policemen who were sent to coalition centers to gun down people. Gun down citizens of this country. I'm saying that they are all state-sponsored.
There was one of the men whose face was said to have popped up every time the Hawks, which is one of those alleged terror groups, every time they Googled that, his face showed. And in the government's white paper, they're saying that again, Sedodi, who acknowledged being aware of the fact that it is his face that pops up on the internet when the Hawks is searched on Google, stated he did not understand why this is so and maintained he was not linked to the Hawks. Despite his strenuous denial, the preponderance of evidence points to the fact that he's a member of the group, even if he's not a leader. And the government said in notes further that this finding, in actual fact, was wrong.
Is it the responsibility of government to defend an individual who feels that he's been unjustly treated by the kinds of pictures that they pop up? It is not the responsibility of government to do so. It is the responsibility of that individual. You have asked a committee to investigate in a matter that indeed threatens our democracy. You believe in the integrity and the independent mindedness of these individuals. And there is no question whatsoever about the integrity of the members of the committee to investigate this. They have done their investigation. Over 60% of their recommendations were all thrown somewhere.
Because the government said that it was not an impartial, inquiry.
Did
like
they give us reasons?
Yes, they did.
What
they did. And let me just pull it up, because I was just reading a bit of it as well. I'll give you just a minute. So it says here that the terms of reference of the commission were to make a full, faithful and impartial inquiry into the circumstance of and establish the facts leading to the events and associated violence that occurred during the Ayawaso West War by election, and also identify any person responsible for who has been involved, and it goes on and on. But it says here that the fundamental response of government to the findings of the report is that the report failed to address the first and most critical of the terms of reference of the commission, which was to make a full, faithful and impartial inquiry into the circumstances of and establish the facts leading to the events and associated violence that occurred during the Ayawaso West War by elections. So the failure to do so disables government from accepting in whole the findings of the commission. This is the white paper.
Bella, how did they fail to do so? This is not an evidence.
I'll bring
this
you in.
is
Hold
not
on.
How did they fail to do so?
But they went on to explain it. They give each point and explain why they reject or accept
wisdom of the committee, they did what they were supposed to do. And in their position is that they met every single, what's the name, guidelines given to them to come to the conclusions they came to. You see, the reason why government will do this is because government it was state-sponsored in the first place. The people were not just any MPP youth groups or food soldiers who came and did that. These were people who came masquerading as national security operatives. Masquerading as national security operatives. If a national security operative who is properly trained, will they engage in the kinds of things they engage in? I have just told you, I had a call around 5:30 the day before, then I should not get closer to the
All right.
place. And I believe that I might not have been the only person who had such calls. This was planned by government. And they executed it as a precursor to what happened in 2020
Let me bring
elections.
Kofi Amaya in so he can respond to this. First of all, why have we not compensated these victims of the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election violence?
Firstly, let me admit that what happened in Ayawaso West Wogon was unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened. We don't have to, can you please allow me? We don't have to go for elections to elect leaders and somebody would have to be maimed or die as a result. Democracy doesn't demand that. So again, I do not support what happened, and it's unfortunate it shouldn't have happened. But something dramatic happened, historic happened. We've never had a situation where we've gone for by-elections or elections where there have been some sort of violence that the government has instituted a commission of inquiry to look into it. It has never happened before. Unfortunately, we've had experiences in the Fourth Republic where, as a result of by-elections, people have died, people have been maimed, people have been attacked. We've had a situation where even after post-elections, people have died because of some of the fight that were ongoing as a result of the elections. We never had any sort of inquiry into it. To the extent that we now even have an act that bans vigilantism in this country. That's a step in a very good direction.
Have we really banned vigilantism?
Oh, of course. When was the last time you heard about vigilantism in this country?
Have we
Even
really?
when we were deliberating upon it and discussing it, the NDC did not want to even participate in.
But even ahead of the 2020 elections, we were told there were some allegations that some vigilante groups were being trained somewhere around the Kaswa area and all that.
Not true.
It's not true.
The allegations and
So all vigilante groups in the country have been...
As we speak,
It's
do you see activities of vigilantism in this country? You don't. And I'm saying that what happened, one, was unfortunate. Two, we need to commend government for instituting a commission of inquiry to look into it. Unfortunately, just like you rightly read, they failed to do their job. And that's the more reason why honorable people like Mutala will come and sit here and say the things that he is saying. If the commission had done its work, first and foremost, to make a full, faithful and impartial inquiry into the circumstances of and establish the fact leading to what happened. We have not been able to find out what happened. What we are talking about is actually the kind of disturbances and the violence that happened. But what really preempted that? The commission was mandated by the Constitution. Article 280 of the 1982 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, that when there's an establishment of a commission of inquiry, they must find things that led to what actually happened. And they failed to do that. Even in their failure, the government could have just dismissed the entire commission. But I said, no, we will accept some. When we agree with you, we will agree with you.
Was the government not protecting its own, which is why it rejected some parts of...
Why would government protect its own and then bring an act, a law, that really punishes people that engages in activities that look violent? Do you get it? So for me, moving forward, we've made progress from here where you see individuals who support the party in one way or the other, taking the law into their own hands and doing things that are untoward. I think as a result of the unfortunate incident that happened in Ayawaso Wagon, we are not witnessing these things anymore. So,
we're not. But, I mean, what's the guarantee that we're not going to encounter something similar? Because, again, there are people who are supposed to have been punished.
This government...
And nothing has been done about it. People have not been compensated.
Well, I think these things, these matters are ongoing. Because when you read the white paper, the government made recommendations, okay? Again, I am sitting here saying that what happened in Ayawaso was extremely unfortunate, and we pray and hope nothing of that sort will happen. Government have made attempts. We've promulgated laws, acts to ensure that these things, when they do happen, you'll be punished. And for the last 2-3 years, we have not seen activities of these individuals. And that, for me, is commendable. But moving forward, these words, salad of words, these harsh and abrasive and aggressive words, it was an architecture of the government to come against individuals. They are unfortunate. They are extremely unfortunate. We've had situations in this country where individuals were attacked, okay? And then the Minister for Interior said violence beget violence. They did not even make an attempt to even look into what happened and find lasting solutions to it, okay? But this government didn't do so. We are not justifying what happened. We are not supporting what happened. We are not saying what happened is good.
But if you remain silent in punishing the people who are being asked
we
to
have
be
not.
punished,
If you should read
what
the
happened
white
to
paper,
double then?
All the recommendations are in the white
What
paper.
happened
Why
to
aren't we
double?
reading the white paper?
What happened to
we
double?
can choose. The
Kofi?
recommendation as to what we should do with double, it's in the white paper.
So what has been done to double?
It's in the white paper.
What did the white paper say?
Listen, government has a responsibility. And that responsibility is to make recommendations. And then the agencies will take over. Is that not what happens? You've been in government before. You are a deputy minister. It's not about who controls. It's about who is supposed to do a job. You want government to micromanage everybody? Government should come and do the agencies. It's work for them. Is that what you are supposed to do? So for me, clearly, we have made progress. Okay. And this government has demonstrated that when it comes to this act of violence as a result of deepening our democracy, it will not condone it. And that is why I will expect people like Mutala to commend government for the establishment of 1, the inquiry, 2, the recommendations, and 3, the acts, the Vigilantism Act.
I like that you mentioned the act. So the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999. When you move to point 7, it says there that prohibition of activities of land guards.
True.
So it says a person shall not directly or indirectly facilitate, organize, or promote the organization of land guards for the purposes of protecting or guarding land or property, whether belonging to that person or any other person. And a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable to conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years and not more than 15 years. I can say for a fact that land guards are still operating even up until this point. Nothing has been done about it.
Criminal Offences Act.
But nothing has been done about it. We know the areas where these land guards operate.
I understand.
We have a law. So we talk about promulgating the law, but really when it comes to implementing the law, we are falling short of that. I
understand. We have laws that says you shouldn't go and steal, but we have people who are still stealing. We have the Criminal Offences Act that stipulates, the punishment that should come to those who breed those acts. But yet we have people, being social misfit or what have you. But the bottom line is that there is a law that will punish you for committing such a. That does not mean.
Are these people being punished?
Of course, they are being punished.
Are you sure?
When they are arrested and there evidence to that effect, they will be punished. You think if somebody commit an act, this land guard and these people, they are arrested for brutalizing people?
Who arrests them?
It's the job of the police to arrest them.
These people were told allegedly in bed with the security agencies and some government officials as well.
Allegedly.
And I'm saying allegedly
that's not the kind of discussion we should be having.
But
I am saying that
but we know that land guards are operating at the moment.
Government has a role.
If you go to the likes of Blekuma, if you go to all these other areas, you will know that they actually operate. Even for people who have already built their houses and they're continuing, they come and attack you and threaten to take your tools from you if you don't pay them any money. They're attacking people. We have a law.
I am not denying the fact that these people do still exist, even in the presence of this new act or this new law. I admit that yes, they continue to perpetrate violence against our own citizens. But at the end of the day, I'm saying that we made an attempt to bring a law that will severely punish them. Government has a role in these matters. And government job is to ensure that we promulgate laws, we bring acts, we bring enactment of laws to ensure that when somebody commits an offense, that person will be punished. And there are agencies that are responsible for making sure they go after these people. Let's task these agencies to do their job. Government has done its job by 1, making sure the law exists, and 2, making sure it's read to, and 2, the agencies to do their job. Just yesterday or so, government was able to give at least 150 papers. And we've been doing so, making sure the police...
does it.
I use the word retooling. So yes, we make sure we deepen the activities or the effort that will make sure they go after these people. We talked about the other day, you sat here, my good friend, my sister, Kosi was sitting here, Kosi Amenu was sitting here. You were talking about the fact that government has been able to expand and extend the CCTV to be able to make sure,
But even that, the figures that were given were wrong, and I pointed it out to her.
They were not wrong.
They were not wrong.
They were not wrong.
The vice president indicated about 10,000 CCTV cameras. When he spoke at Ashesi, he said they had been installed. Before that, we had heard from the minister of national security. He had mentioned 6,000 of them that had been installed. So even those figures were wrong.
No, they were not wrong. Government has an intention to provide 10,000 CCTV.
Yeah, but the vice president said it had been installed already.
Wait a minute. I haven't seen that report. Wait a minute. But
you didn't hear the vice president say it?
Again, the bottom line is that, and Kosi made that point here. Look at, we were 800 CCTVs. Now we are talking about even 6,000. Isn't it not monumental?
Yeah, but if the vice president comes and says 10,000.
I'm saying that it's not monumental. I haven't seen that report that you are talking about.
You didn't hear the vice president make that
I haven't read it. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So
I'll point it out to you. Don't worry.
At the end of the day, I am saying that a lot of efforts have been made. That does not mean that there's no more room for improvement. We can do better.
Okay.
So what happened in Ayawaso, East Wogon, was extremely unfortunate, and I'm happy that the government has taken attempts and steps.
This same act, it says that the minister may by executive instruments expand the list of prohibited activities, and also it says the minister may within 12 months after the coming into force of this act by legislative instruments make regulations which are necessary to give effect to this act. We still don't have the LI yet.
Bella, the bottom line is that attempts have been made. Hitherto, we didn't have that. Things of this nature happened and nothing was done. Government did not do anything about it.
Example.
Oh, the Talensi, the what do you mean then the Apatia, all these violence. In fact, just here, the Kokumba market, where these young NDC people butchered their fellow.
You want us to talk about it?
So all these things happen in this country and nothing at all was done.
Is that justification?
No, it's not.
Nothing has been done.
Bella, I keep making the point and I've been repeating myself that what happened was extremely unfortunate, but attempts have been made.
Okay.
In the case of the NDC, nothing was absolutely done in this country to
in your
curb
case,
this in the
just
bud.
2 years ago, December 2020 elections, 8 people died. Nothing has been done about
Was it as a result of vigilantism?
No, we are talking about what has happened in the past. And I'm saying that you're saying their government didn't do anything about it. No, but it's still elections anyway. It's still election-related violence. Now, 8 people died in December 2020. Yes, it was. Nothing has been done about those people.
You know
why?
Are you
not aware of it?
You know why I asked that? Because it's like we are shifting the goalposts.
No, we're not.
No, you went back to Vanguard, which has nothing to do with elections.
How is it? It is part of the act.
No.
The Vigilantism and Related Offences Act.
We're not talking about by-elections.
You brought the law. You brought what government
We're not talking about by-elections. So, you can't. Bella.
Okay, land for me,
That's
please.
what they do. They say you
land
can't
for
even
me.
talk.
Land for me.
See, Bella, nobody has to die for electing a leader. Nobody has to die because we are going to vote.
8 people have died.
Unfortunately.
What has been done?
Extremely unfortunate. But you see, I don't want to go. You see, if we are not able to find the reason why these things happen, we will not make progress. That's the challenge. Why did they die? We must find the reason why they died so that we can be able to stop it. And
we heard from one of your leaders who insinuated that they were criminals.
Yes. The first deputy speaker.
Is that where we want to go?
Oh, he said it.
Do you want to go to where we want to go to where the flag bearer? No, the flag bearer was instigating and insinuating and inciting people that violence will come to this country. Hell and brainstorm will come. This country.
Why do you always want to relate it to what happened? I'm just asking you a simple question.
No, you're not. I'm saying that
it's a simple question. Nothing has been done in relation to the people who lost their lives. These are Ghanaians, whether we like it or not.
For making sure something is being done.
Okay, all right.
Bella, I am scandalized, and I don't know whether my brother listened to himself, but I don't believe that's what politics can do to fine gentlemen. Why? He's telling us that, oh, you asked about double. What happened to double? Oh, it's in the white paper. Then why is government not acting? Oh, it is the responsibility of the agencies. Seriously, there is no single agency in this country that is not under the supervision of an authority. All agencies are either under specific ministries or under the office of the president.
And some have independence. They are insulated.
No agency is independent.
Which one?
Tell me which one. Which agency? Tell me which. You said no state agency. Which state agency?
Is the police not supposed to be independent?
They are under the jurisdiction of the Minister of Interior.
Yes, but they are supposed to be independent.
Can I finish?
You want government to influence
their hand? So we can move on. We have other topics to discuss.
I'm saying that every single agency is either under a specific ministry or under the office of the president. So for you to tell me that because it is captured in the white paper, government has finished with its responsibility. There is something called political will. The courage and the ability to deal with people regardless their affiliation to your political persuasions. Why? Nothing has been done about it. Absolutely nothing.
Bella,
can I
please.
Hold on. I will let you in. Don't worry, I'll give you the chance to respond briefly.
He said that, oh, the reason why we have this is that we have never had that. We have never experienced what we experienced at Ayawasu. Tell me, the only time we experienced a similar incident in our electoral processes is one young man of your party went to Kulkul School in Tamale and shot guns, broad daylight AK-47. It took your youth organizer, Mustafa Hamid, who is now the head of MPA. When the gentleman was arrested, he had a press conference and threatened the head of the prisons. And within 2 hours, the gentleman was released under your own government, under your own party. So we have never experienced what we experienced in Ayawasu. And again, he's talking about what happened in Talensi. You had your leader, the current president, who boasted that people were maimed. And he saw it fanciful. He saw it fanciful to make fun with it when people were struggling as a result of his actions. In 2000.
Whose actions?
As a result.
Was it the action of the government of the day?
He said, and I remember in 2000, Bella, when I was in my first year in University of
And when he said that you...
Hold on, Kofi. I'll let you respond, Kofi.
2000 elections, President Nana Addo, you can check it at Joy. He said that if anything happens in this country, Ghana will turn bloody. Your flag bearer.
What?
Maybe you were pretty young then.
I wasn't
2000.
pretty young.
I'm just telling you. Go and check. I listened to him. But the point I'm just making is that...
Your president also said what? All die be die?
Die?
No. All die be die is attributed.
No, he did. Wait, let me tell you what he said.
All die
he said
is
they come from a
attributed to.
revolutionary roots. And that when it comes to unleashing violence...
Yes. Yeah, but he's telling you. You see, it's a reminder to you.
It's a reminder to who?
Hold on. It's a
Why
reminder.
don't you quote John Mahama as well?
You see, when
he said that twice. One in trade fair.
When we were speaking and I came in, you said, oh, allow me.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
If you don't respect me and Bella, respect you in public.
Carry on.
I'm saying that.
Well, he says do or die. Pardon me, not all die.
Yes, do or die.
Do or die, yes.
Accra House of Folk and Kotoko, do or die. Real Tamil United and Kotoko, do or die.
Oh, really?
Yes. But your president said all die be die.
Is it not the same?
No.
How is it not the same?
All die be die is that you die, whatever the case is.
Do or die means what?
Hold on, I'm saying that
Kofi,
do or die, it means that you are going to put in all effort. That is what it means. Anytime Kotogo explain has and they say today's match is do or die, don't you guys even at your station say, oh, this program is to be do or die?
Ghanaians castigated former President Mahama for making that statement as well.
We
equated it to all die be die.
No, it can never be equated to all die be die. But I'm saying that the actions of the person who is saying it, and in fact, you had President Kufuor. Hold on.
Do or die?
Please, you had President
Violent
Kufuor.
people.
Please.
Kofi, please.
You are too good to be doing this. Have you lost the
Comrade,
debate?
please carry on.
Now
Time
again,
is
he
running.
says that the commission failed to establish the events and asked you read.
Leading
Why? Who didn't know what events led to happen? They were instructed by the state.
No. That's an allegation. I'm sorry.
The
To do what? To harm people?
Hold on. The people went there under the instruction of the state. Those people went there under the instruction of the state. If you tell me that they didn't go there under the instruction of the state, then who instructed them to go there? They went there under the instruction of the state. And hold on. 2 ministers' responsibility is it? Or was it to ensure that they went there? Either the Minister of Interior or the Minister for National Security. So if I say that they were instructed to go there by the state, it's absolutely fair and right. So if you ask me, that established events leading to the Ayawaso West Walk. What events? The only events that you don't need any investigation to establish is that they were sent there by the state. And now he is making reference to what happened in 2020. This, you can better describe them as state-sponsored terrorists. Because these were gun-wielding military and police officers who went to a coalition center. It has never happened. Gunned down innocent
That's
people.
never happened.
Tell me.
Oh, you are old enough to
When
know.
have we ever had armed military men and policemen at any coalition center in this Fourth Republic? Give me an example.
I used to witness the election in Okankwe South.
And they did what?
Swale.
They went and gunned down people.
Oh, don't do that. You mentioned...
They went...
Comrade, please land on this for me.
They went and gunned down people. I am saying
Stop.
that.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I shouldn't go where? Because you see, when they are hit with the facts, that's what they do. You had armed military and police officers who have sworn oath to protect lives and property defend the territorial integrity of this country, they were forced to go there, gun down people. And Ashanti Regional Minister, when they interviewed him, he said, oh, he picked information that the people, blah, blah, and he sent there without even any, reference to the regional security, committee of the region, instructed them to do so. We have never had this.
Okay.
So I'm saying that something happened, Bella.
Please land on
the
this
least
for
government
me.
could do is to compensate those people. May God forbid. If this thing happened to you or myself, how are we going to take it?
Okay.
That gentleman is on crutches. That gentleman kids, for all you know, their education is truncated. That gentleman kids cannot get milk to eat because their father doesn't have the strength to work again. We and I will be able to get milk even if we are not working. We have the capacity, the physical capacity to do so. That gentleman is struggling.
All right.
Government cannot even compensate this.
Please let
When they
Kofi come
ask you
in.
what action government has taken, you say this in the white paper.
Please let Kofi come in.
I
Yes.
mean, I just want to land on because it kept coming. What have you done to double and double? The white paper, 6.3, individual liabilities. When you go to A, the government takes note of the commission's recommendation that Mr. Ernest Akomia alias Double must be prosecuted for the unauthorized possession of firearms under subsection 1 of section 192 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, blah, 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 refers the recommendation to the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service for further investigations.
So,
how long? It's been 3 years.
Government,
it's an institution.
the white people accepted that recommendation and asked with the greatest of respect, was it the president who was supposed to investigate and prosecute Double?
Don't insult the viewing public. What are you talking
come
about?
On. The government, the president, gave the directive to the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police to do its work. It's not what the government is supposed to do.
3 years.
Don't we deserve that at least we
so
should have
let's
been
question the
updated by
police.
now?
Why they haven't done so?
Oh, we shouldn't question the government, we should question the police.
It also said,
Bella,
by the way,
Bella.
that same place, that the government does not accept the Commission's recommendation that Mohammed Suleimana must be prosecuted for the offence of assault with the slapping of Honourable Member of Parliament, Mr. Samuel Nate George, on the basis that the Commission at paragraphs 6162 on page 55 of the report accepted the facts which led to the said assault on the Honourable Member, Mr. Samuel Nate George, with facts that support a valid defence of provocation for the said assault.
Everything that has happened, especially under this administration, regarding people losing their lives and people being maimed, extremely unfortunate. But when we talk of a government or a political party, that is extremely violent to the extent that when Ghanaians queue to elect a leader, they said, no, we don't want him. They went to the barrel of the gun and toppled, please. Wait, let me make my point. Okay?
Make it.
So I'm talking about 1981 PNDC.
1966.
The root of which you are enjoying.
Who taught Ghanaians how to use
You
gun to
killed
govern?
people.
Who taught Ghanaians how to use gun?
So if you're, to the extent that your flag bearer admitted,
let's move on, gentlemen.
that you are more violent than any
Let's move on and talk about the fact that officially, as of today, please let's move on, gentlemen.
With a gun was alien.
Let's move on and discuss something.
Beneficiaries of
another issue that also affects
Ghanaians,
Ghanaians, which is the fact that we've been told that from today, fuel prices are expected to go up by 25 pesos per litre, and that's because of the suspension of the price stabilization and recovery levies that was reintroduced sometime back in 2015. And so that is the situation now as it stands. We're told that fuel prices are going to go up after 3 months of the suspension of the price stabilization levy. Kofi, first of all to you, I mean, Ghanaians were a little concerned, especially because I remember that even when it was suspended, COPEC came out and said Ghanaians should not expect that the prices will be reduced at the pumps, even with the suspension of the levy. Now that it has been, reinstated, what happens to Ghanaians because fuel prices are going up?
Yes, it's unfortunate, but it has to happen because without that price stabilization, I think it will affect the premix fuel. And for the last 3 months, when you read the reports, according to, I think, a gentleman who works at MPA, he says, they are using the existing money to support the premix, and the money has depleted. So there's a need. Of course, government said it was just a suspension. It wasn't something that would be everlasting. So it has to happen again. We are in a situation where we must all, as much as possible, try and tighten our belt and bite the bullets. The economic challenges are daunting as a result of the cascading effects of the COVID, the disruption in global supply chain, the increase in crude prices. we are not in good times as a country. We are not in good time as a people living within the global village. Things are a bit hard. And with these levies or money that were suspended, just so you know, it meant that a section of Ghanaians were going to suffer a little bit. And there's a need for us to revert and ensure that moving forward, you know, we continue taking the levies to do what is proper. Because at the end of the day, when we take the levies, it has a specific purpose and intent. And it will go back to that purpose and intent to ensure that the fisher folks also enjoy their subsidized premiums for to be able to ensure that, one, they have a sustainable job, two, we are able to eat our protein, you know, really well. So it's unfortunate it has to happen, but it has happened.
But I remember that when the president indicated to the NPA to suspend the levy, he said that this was supposed to take off the burden from Ghanaians at the fuel pumps. But now that we're restoring it, clearly because we probably may have used up the money that was accrued from the levy, that means the burden is shifted back to the Ghanaian. What other interventions are we putting in place just to ensure that Ghanaians are not overburdened?
At the point, the price of the international crude oil was a bit high. And if you should do all the calculation, the price build up, you would realize that if the Ghanaians should bear everything, that would be catastrophic. Indeed, even this price adjustments and how to regulate the prices was an attempt made, or a law or an act that was made by even the NDC. I don't want to go into the politics of it, which for me goes into the special levy that is supposed to support the premiums. Yes, it was supposed to alleviate the pain and the plight of Ghanaians. Unfortunately, we've come to a point where we must go back and pay, because relatively the crude price has come down. So we can, it's not easy. We are looking at a situation where the ordinary Ghanaian would have laughed that we are selling, you know, a gallon for, say, 15 cedis or 17 cedis. But that's not the reality. The reality is that we are not in good times, and everybody must do its bit to ensure that at the end of the day, we all make sure Ghana continue to be Ghana. Okay.
Well, if we could just project that statement by Mr. Kojo Poku on how much has been accrued in the levy and what that money is being used, about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis so far accrued. And he's asking questions with regards to the e-levy as well, because if we're looking for other means to raise money, what's happening to the monies that we've already raised? If you could just project that on the screen for me so I could read it out to those who are watching. Can you help me out, please, Koko? Okay, while we pull it up, by the way, I just want to find out, because I remember that when this issue came up about the suspension of the levy, you know, we heard from Senor Hosi, and he was saying that government could actually reduce fuel to like 6 cedis if we could only suspend, or in fact just clear the boss margin as well. We haven't been able to do that.
So when you look at the price, you see a lot of margins, a lot of levies, a lot of taxes and all of that. Yes, and clearly you also realize that all these levies have specific job or mandate for which. So the question is that, okay, let's take it away. And if you do take it away, that department or that specific project or intent might also suffer. Okay, in making sure the account will say, we all have a responsibility. It's not a comfortable one. But I am comfortable and I am extremely happy that we have a government, when it collects money, it does well with the money.
Does it?
It does. For example, I struggled to go to secondary school because my mother had lost her job. My father didn't take care of me. It took the benevolence and the kind gesture of family to ensure that I went to the best school in Ghana, St. Peter's Secondary School. Okay, now a lot of parents do not have to worry their heads over this because the government has come and ensured that they are using their money to finance their free SHS. Today, if you read the paper, you realize that there have been 13 bridges built by this government in 5 years. When you look at the interchanges and overpass, even in Accra alone, it's overwhelming. Okay, and the overlays that are ongoing, the STEM schools that have been constructed, the e-levy, the e-blocks that has been brought on board. So when you look at
the e-blocks, yesterday we heard from the education minister, and he explained why there's been a delay in operationalizing that. So that's like a whole conversation. We cancelled contracts for about 27 of them.
We brought on board some of them. even at par with what they even started. I am saying that when we collect your money, we use it for a good purpose. So yes, what is happening is not comfortable, but I am glad that when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo collect our taxes, he will ensure that at least where I live, okay, I live within the enclave of Spinters, East Legon Hills, Ajiringano, and that within that enclave alone, the Nana Krom Road, tiled beautifully. When you are coming to get to Ajiringano, you will see an overpass that's getting to the motorway. Then you come to the underbridge that has been constructed a long ago. Then you come to Palace. You can see that overpass being constructed to get to the motorway. So within that enclave alone,
that's delayed.
I understand, but just appreciate within that enclave alone the kind of infrastructure that is going on, road infrastructure. So yes.
Meanwhile, we've cancelled road tolls that should also generate some amount of money for us.
I am saying that look at the infrastructure and look at the development that has gone on. We have ensured that every constituency, through the Special Development Initiative,
got $2 million,
got some kind of development.
What kind of development? There are a lot of people who are saying that they didn't see much happen.
Who, the NDC?
No.
Diego?
Ghana is not only made of the NDC and MPP.
I am telling you, when you look at the
Ghanaians
reports,
who are saying they haven't felt any of the promises that were made by your president, by our president.
Well, some Ghanaians definitely, we didn't complete 100% of all our promises. But we delivered on a significant percentage of our promises.
Okay, Oliver, if you can project that statement from Kojo Poku for me concerning how much has been accrued from the levy, please do that for me. Some 1.2 billion that Johnny used for Johnny's Bites this morning. Carry on, Kofi.
So I am saying that.
Don't worry, I'll let you come in.
I am saying that I am very positive as a Ghanaian. I pay taxes too. These levies, I do pay them. I buy for myself, so I do pay them. But I'm comfortable that where I'm living, Nana Krom, the road is constructed. It used to be a very narrow, very rugged and muddy road. But now it's beautifully done. We have 2 lanes here, 2 lanes here. Is it not nice?
Well, let me just
now
read
you
this
drive
quickly.
your beautiful
Kofi,
car on these beautiful roads and you don't enjoy
now we're
it.
told we don't have money, so we have to introduce e-levy so we can raise some fund for road infrastructure. But anyway, so the Institute for Energy Policies and Research is calling on the Minister of Finance as a matter of urgency to give accounts to Ghanaians on the 1.26 billion Ghana cedis accrued from the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, PSRL, since 2015. So in a press release by Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, they estimated the total amount paid by Ghanaians as a result of PSRL to be 2.53 billion Ghana cedis. As per the Act 899, part of this levy is to subsidize pre-mixed and residual fuel oil, and the balance to be used to stabilize petroleum prices for consumers. Last week, the president gave the executive approval for the PSRL, which is currently 16 pesos for gasoline and 14 pesos for diesel, to be reduced to 0. And now, like we're being told this morning, it has been restored. But where is that 1.26 billion Ghana cedis that you're asking for?
Tell you. You know why? You see, when budget is read, please, when budget is read, and you go to the appendices of the budget, we don't discuss the appendices of the budget.
We do.
We don't.
We do.
Have you ever discussed? Because if you do, this question will not come up.
We do.
Because every peso spent from the consolidated funds is accounted for in the budget.
Can you?
In appendices, yes.
Sure. How they spend the 1 point.
There's many reports right here.
But you said it is in the budget, so I was hoping that you could pull it up for us.
No. If you had told me you were going to discuss it, but the thing is here, and I've told you where you can find it. The appendices of the budget, every peso spent is here.
The viewing public.
You have come to talk. I will pull it up for you. Don't
worry. Okay, I'll let Comrade speak so that you have time to pull it up. Comrade.
He's telling us that we should tighten our belts, right? They don't even have belt hooks. You don't have belt hooks.
I do.
I say your government doesn't have belt hooks. You don't have belt hooks. So you don't have belt. Even belt hooks, you are telling us that we should tighten our belts. Have you seen all the overpass, the interchanges you mentioned? They all started on the NDC, and you abandoned them.
The sprinters were
yes. The Palace Mall, the Burma camp, they started on the NDC. You abandoned them.
You started the
You abandoned them for 4 years. And if you abandon a project for 4 years and you want to continue, the cost will quadruple. That is what you have done to the people of this country. You were briefly mentioning, they were all NBC. He doesn't even read their manifesto. He doesn't even know what goes around. They were all
He's
started.
part of the communications team for the MPP.
Oh, that makes his case worse. Then he is doing propaganda. Because those projects, they started on the NDC. Now he was mentioning them. Please.
Okay.
Even the underpass, it was started under NDC. And in fact, Bella, ask any contractor, if you award a contract and you refuse to pay the contractor and allow the work to stand there for 5 years, the cost will quadruple. That is what you have done to the people of this country. And you come around telling us that we should tighten our belts. You see, the list said about the reasons why this government is messing up using COVID, they're better. Look, there cannot be the effect of COVID on any country than the number of lives you unfortunately lost. Is it not a fact? The number of lives you lose as a result of COVID for me is more profound than even the economic effects. COVID was a global, pandemic. It affected every country. I want to zero it to West Africa. It affected our neighbors than it affected us. None of them went to the IMF to borrow $2 billion. None of them except us. $2 billion. None of them got a grant of $100 million from the World Bank. None of them dipped their hands into the Infrastructure Development Fund established by President Mahama, the president you berated. None of them dipped their hands into all manner of funds established for the purposes of growing this country and for the purposes of generations yet unborn in this country, except your government. What did you use the money for? Now you tell me that the effect of COVID is the reason why you are coming out with these draconian policies and tax regimes. Other countries even gave rent allowances. Senegal is a classical example. How can you tell me that you borrowed money for the purposes of COVID, yet you spent 34 million Ghana cedis of COVID money to hold press conferences and workshops? 34 million, and it is captured in the 2022 budget.
They say we are going to also provide rent for young people in this country.
I'm saying 34 million for conferences and dignity. That's what they spend it for. You told me that you borrowed money for the purposes of COVID, yet the Minister for Finance is spending 54 million of it to establish a new bank. What is our crime? What did the people of this country do against President Nanado? What crime have you committed? That is so sacrilegious that you don't even empathize with the people of this country. So every little thing, they rush to COVID. Every little thing, the reasons why we are having these challenges is because of COVID. Yet you are not telling us the monies you have borrowed. On this same program, we were told that they spend 2 million Ghana cedis every day feeding people during the lockdown. 2 million. Ketsi, the communication director of NADMO. 2 million. Were they feeding everybody in this country? It was just around Circle and some parts of Kumasi. 2 million Ghana cedis. You have not been able to account properly to the people of this country. You see, the reason why they don't feel the brunt of these increases is because the Land Cruiser that carries the president's chair is going to be taking the fuel free. It is only President Nanado. When he is traveling, the chair he sits on is in a Land Cruiser with a driver and a police officer. That is what happens. Look, when he was coming toward the northern part of the country, the Land Cruiser had a seat, an executive seat in the flight. The seat had an executive seat in the flight. The Land Cruiser with the police officer and the driver. It's a fact.
It's beyond you.
It's a fact.
It's too pedestrian.
I'm saying that it's a fact.
Not a fact.
You see, it is even.
He says it's not a fact.
It's a fact.
It's not.
I am saying that let them come out and deny whether the president's chair is not being driven by a Land Cruiser. Look, the Land Cruiser, please, I am telling you a fact.
Kofi, are you saying that's not true?
I mean,
there have been concerns about that.
Can I make my point?
The president
is
going with it,
you should allow me to make my point.
Logistics.
Do we have a chair in one Land Cruiser? Is that true? That's not true. Okay, carry on, comrade.
I am saying that it's a shame me if it is not true. Look, when the president was going to the north, the Land Cruiser boarded the flight. They got to the chair. They took the Land Cruiser with a police officer and a driver from Accra empty to Tamale. They brought it and picked it at the airport. Why? They picked it at the airport.
Ask him to prove how you got to know that.
He is the only president whose Land Cruiser sits in whose chair.
Comrade, how did you get all this information? Is it really true? They
are not even denying it. He is sitting here
denying it.
Let the Minister of Information come out and deny it. Oh. I am saying that the Land Cruiser, the chair sits in the Land Cruiser with a driver and a police officer.
That's a lie.
That Land Cruiser will not pay for the fuel. It is only this government that you have presidential staffers. Who is the presidential staffer? Anybody working within the presidency without a specific designated portfolio is a presidential staffer. It is only under this government that presidential staffers live in state bungalows. They are given land cruisers. They have police officers, and some of them use military. Now, if you have 50 presidential staffers, they would have denied this state the services of 50 police officers. Me, Mutala, have you ever seen me with a police officer? Even when I was a deputy minister, I never had a police officer follow me anywhere. I drove in a car. As a deputy minister, I never had a driver, and your government owes me money. Your government owes me money because I ought to have been paid for the driver services.
Have you been demanding? Have you been demanding?
Oh, I won't demand. That is my sacrifice to this nation.
So if you say your government owes me,
they should have paid me. If they pay me and I say I don't want it. One of my colleagues went to the Flagstaff house. They nearly mangled her.
If they pay you, would you collect that money now?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't because
so
some of us are willing to sacrifice. Let the president reduce the number of sites. They went to Koforidua to do their town hall. You know, you brought a budget. You brought a budget to Parliament.
Hold on, Kofi, please. You are not the one to determine.
You brought a budget to Parliament. The moment the budget was presented for and on behalf of the president by the minister, it ceases to be a document of the executive. It's the legislature. Now, you still having town hall meetings for the purposes of this dangerous e-levy. When they went to Koforidua, they went with 32 Land Cruisers. 32 Land Cruisers. All these 32 Land Cruisers got fuel from the state. 32, that is Koforidua alone. Do you know the amount of fuel they would use when they are going to Western region or Northern region? And they do this nyafu at the expense of the people of this country. You turn around and then you tell us that, oh, we should sacrifice, we should pay. And every single thing they will tell us that is covered. So Bella, look, read the statement issued by ASAP. And interestingly, the current Deputy Minister for Energy, that was his organization. ESLA, the monies were actually paid. Under the NDC, we generated more than enough.
Yeah.
Now, when there are reductions in world crude prices, why don't you reduce here? And the issue is not just about the prices. The tax build-up. The tax builder, for which reason there is nothing to show. He sits here and he's telling us that, oh, the good thing about this government is that every money we take, there is something to show.
Okay.
Look, when you talk about free SHL, let me conclude on this.
Please land for me because my time is up. We have to.
Let me conclude on this. When you tell us that, oh, you have taken so much money, you should. Not a single hospital have you built. None. Not a single secondary school. Show me.
They haven't built a single secondary school.
The things NDC started. That is what they are continuing.
Well,
which one?
Government is a continuum, right?
Okay.
Is it not?
Okay.
Kofi, 30 seconds, please. We have to go.
How can it be 30?
I'm sorry, but we have to go.
He sat here and he lied.
Which one?
You talked about the fact that Ghana is the only country that has borrowed more in terms of.
I said $2 billion from the IMF. Show me another country.
And I'm showing you right now.
$2
When you go to
billion,
International Monetary Fund, financial assistance and debt service relief, you can ask your producers. South Africa took $4 billion. Let me finish. Why are you doing this?
We have to go, gentlemen.
I said there was our neighbors. I just told you.
And I'm coming there. Senegal took over $1 billion.
Okay. All right. We have to go.
I did the same.
Can I finish?
Please, can you allow him? We have to go, unfortunately. We have to go. Unfortunately, time is up. And by the way, our debt at the moment, we're told, has hit 344.5 billion Ghana cedis as at November 2021. So we've added on 2.7 billion Ghana cedis, fresh loans to our debt. That's how much we owe at the moment. Anyway, thank you so much, gentlemen, for talking to us this morning. Kofi Ameya is a member of the NPP communications team, and our comrade Murtala Mohammed is the MP for Tamale Central. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. This morning, we have the communications director for the NDC joining us in the studio. Mr. Sami Jamefi will be here. And also later, we'll have Madame Josephine Nkrumah. She's the CEO of the NCCE. She'll also be here. So keep watching. It's a packed morning, but of course, we've got you covered. My name is Perla Mundi. We'll be right back.
I told you that none of our neighbors